Oh no, that's another story in Mahabharata. That's towards the end. But no, this is when they're in the middle of their, because they have to go in exile for 12 years or something like. I always mix it up with Ramchandra's exile.
Plus an extra or something, right? Was it an extra year?
I think Ramachandra's is 14 years. Is it Ramachandra 14 years exile?
Maybe right.
Yeah. And then the Pandavas maybe 12, and then there was an extra year. Yeah. But in the middle of one event, in the middle of their exile, they all were very tired and very thirsty at a certain point, and maybe Gurudev tells the whole story here. I don't need to spoil it. No, he doesn't, so I'll tell the story. They're very tired, they're very thirsty, and they saw a lake somewhere in the distance. One of them climbed up a tree and saw a lake in the distance. So they all stopped to rest, and they're with Queen Kunti, who's she's an older lady. So then and then the two youngest, the twins, Nakul and Sahadev, they say, "Oh, we'll go and we'll collect some water and bring it back." And so they go. They're gone for a long time. They don't come back. And so then Arjuna's next, right? Then Arjuna goes, the next brother. I'll go and see what's happening. And he also doesn't come back. So then Bhima goes. Bhima doesn't come back. So then finally only Yudhishthira Maharaj is left. He's the eldest. And he goes there and he sees that his brothers, they all look like they're dead, lying completely unconscious, maybe dead, by the side of this river. And he thinks, oh, well, I'm so thirsty, let me quench my thirst first, and then see what's happening with my brothers. And then there's a bird there by the river, and the bird speaks to him and says, before you drink the water of the, I'm the master of this river, this lake, and you can only drink this water if you first answer my questions. Otherwise, you'll end up with the same fate as your brothers. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is very sober. He's the most sober of the five, most intelligent. So he thinks, I should pay attention to this bird. Whereas his brothers had thought, oh, it's just a stupid bird. So they didn't pay any attention. And so they drank the water to their peril. And as it turns out, that bird was actually a hidden form of Yamaraj, who was actually his father. And he's Yamaraj. He's also known as Dharmaraj, the king of Dharma. He dispenses justice, right? Oh, Yamaraj means like the Lord of Death. So he's the one who dispenses justice to the jiva soul. So he knows about Dharma. So he tells Yudhishthira Maharaj as this bird, you'd have to answer my questions. And so Yudhishthira agrees. And there's like 100 or 100 and something questions. They're in Mahabharata. But there's 4 in particular which are very famous. And I was remembering one of them in particular because it's a reminder of, not wasting our time. So I wanted Gurudev discusses some of those answers of Yudhishthira Maharaj here, and I wanted to read that. But I'll start from the beginning of the chapter because it's all related. So this is chapter 7 of, is it part 3? It's in the section of the soul, which is section 3. Section 3, the soul. Chapter 7, the waves of birth and death. The waves of birth and death. The mundane world is a plane of exploitation. No one can live there without exploiting others. It has been described in the scriptures as bogamoy bhumika. This word bog refers to enjoyment. So it is the bhumika, like the land, is the land of enjoyments. That's what this enjoyment or exploitation. Ahastani sahastanam apadani chatushpadam falguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. You might have heard this. This is a famous phrase. Jivo jivasya jivanam means every jiva, every living entity is food for another jiva. That's the nature of this world. Everyone is dependent upon the existence, upon devouring, exploiting the existence of somebody else. And now in this modern age, what we're actually doing is more efficiently, as Srila Sridhar says in Saraswati Shri Krishna, expanding the circumference of our exploitation. This is what we've achieved, And we actually don't realize how much we're participating in it. Like all the things that we consume, all the products that we use, there is such a heavy degree of exploitation. Last night, I was shocked. I read this article about the exploitation of bees that's going on in the world. It's like there's this crisis in California. Almonds, for the pollination of almonds, they require a huge amount of bees. And California supplies 80% of the world's almonds. So you go and buy your almond milk and you think, oh yeah, I'm being so healthy and I'm being eco-friendly, and I'm being vegan, drinking my almond milk. Like how many hundreds of bees had to die for that? It's like a major crisis because they need this massive amount of bees, but the type of pesticides that they use to grow almonds kills bees. So they have this massive turnover of bees, and it's said that more bees are killed in the production of honey in America than all other animals raised for slaughter combined. It's like this huge amount, but because they're so small, you don't think about it that much. More bees are killed in the process of making honey than all other animals raised for slaughter combined in America. It's like this because of the way because it's a mass production thing. Yeah, and then there's all this competition, and so it's not sustainable. It's ridiculous. They change their methods to increase things on a mass scale, but what they're doing is creating a huge amount of harm and exploitation in the process, and it's not sustainable. So not that I want to go on a rant about about all these issues, but I was so shocked. I love almond milk, but now I can't look at it the same way. But that's only one thing. What about this pretty little phone this cover was made in China, like some sweatshop labor, could have been child slave labor. The phone, how much blood could have gone into that's how this, whether we're conscious of it or not, this world is resting upon that. I was in South. When was it? It was in April. I was in Sao Paulo, and Brazil is it's a sophisticated place, and Sao Paulo is a very sophisticated city, and we went into one shopping mall for a SIM card, and very sophisticated, very fancy, very fashionable, and it just, first of all, it struck me because there's also so much poverty in Brazil. This, the way that these, there are these areas that are, they were called favelas, but I heard that that's not politically correct anymore. I don't remember the proper name, but like ghettos, where lots of drug dealing goes on, there's lots of crime. murder and very dangerous areas. And in some places, you can have one of these ghettos like back to back to a very like middle class neighborhood. I had the experience once. You take one wrong turn, and you're in a very different place, you know. So in the midst of this city, you know, with poverty and this crime and this dark side, drug dealing, then you have this like fancy, glossy shopping mall. Like that's one thing. And then the other thing that struck me was that, you know, there's all these shiny, beautiful things, but what's behind all of that, you know? What's behind all of that? It's like I went for a long walk with Chaitanya Moy in Rome the other day, on Sunday or Monday, and we went for a very long walk, and we walked through this very touristy area. There were like hundreds of tourists around, and so you have there was like this strip of cafes, restaurants, and everything's very glittering. You know, everything's looking very good. There's wonderful smells coming out. And then we walked down the back street, like the back side of these restaurants, and like all these like big piles of garbage, and it's dirty and it smells, and like this is the nature of this world. It's built on that, and everything has the dark side, you know. Everything has behind the scenes, you know. So jivo jivasya jivanam. This is a verse from Bhagavatam. So, you know, these things are so sobering when you think about it. And it's like, this world is not a party place. You know, like, let's be real. Let's be serious. You know, it's not a party place. And then you think, you know, we have this human life. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. When I was in China a few years ago, there was one day we were driving for a program, and there was, I live a very sheltered life, actually, you know, going from temple to temple. But we were driving, and there was this huge, you know, in places like England and America, things are kind of shielded, you know. But when you go to like some third world countries, things are more exposed. And there was this massive truck of pigs, live pigs. They were just like crammed into this massive truck, you know, and it was like open, you know, you could see, you know. And I could feel their energy, and it was so sobering to me. Like, wow. Like, I'm sure I've been there. Like, I've been a pig in the back of a truck going to be killed for somebody's lunch, you know. What kind of a situation is that, you know? And now I have some level of freedom, you know. I'm not going to waste that, you know. So it's you know, these sobering moments, they come and they remind us, like, this is not a pretty place. This is not a place to get comfortable, you know. We have to remember what is our real purpose. Those who have hands live on those who have no hands. Those who have 4 legs live on those who have no legs. The big live on the small. No living being can maintain its body without exploitation, because every living being's food is another living being. In the mundane world, everyone is exploiting everyone. No one's life can continue without exploitation. The jiva souls are by nature active. We must always do something, and in this world, the jiva souls cannot do anything without exploiting others. If someone eats something, he eats someone else's energy. If someone builds a house or a stadium or anything, he has to take the material to build that from somewhere. Even if someone wants to fill in a hole, he must dig up earth from somewhere to do that. You know, even like someone posted on Facebook how these bottle caps, that you should cut them because they enter the ocean and they can there's sea creatures that have they've been strangled or their mouths get stuck with these things. So many innocent things. You just throw away your bottle in the garbage. Where is that going? That could be causing major degree of devastation somewhere. Every jiva soul takes the energy it needs to act and maintain its body from other living beings in the form of the products produced by the sky, air, fire, water, and earth. In this way, the embodied living beings are forced to exploit each other to fulfill their needs and desires in this mundane world. This is always the situation in the mundane environment, exploiting to exist. Action and reaction. We have seen that sometimes scientists who study the mundane world come to understand something about scriptural thought. For example, I have heard from Srila Guru Maharaj about Isaac Newton and his third law of motion. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law is a perfect explanation of karma. The theory of karma is very clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. What Newton recently discovered, in quotes, the law of karma, was actually explained in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years earlier. Te tam bhuktva svarga lokam vishalam kine punya marcha lokam vishanti evam trai dharmam anuprapana gata gatam kama kama labante. Within the mundane universe, pious jiva souls enjoy in the heavenly planets, and impious jiva souls suffer in hellish planets after leaving their earthly bodies. When the jiva soul's positive or negative karmic reactions are finished, they are born again in the earthly plane. Srimad Bhagavad Gita explains in this way how creation and the wheel of karma revolve within the material environment. The mundane universe is a passing show. Gachati iti jagat. The jiva souls are constantly revolving up and down to the different species and planes of life in this universe according to their karma. The jiva souls try in many ways to find satisfaction, but none of their attempts are successful. Kabu swarge utai, kabu nada ke dubai. Dandya jane raja jena nadite chudbai. Chaitanya Charitamrita. In material life, the jiva souls are sometimes raised to heaven or material prosperity, and sometimes drowned in a hellish situation by their karma. This experience of the jiva soul is similar to a king's punishment of a criminal. When a king wants to punish a criminal, he orders his servitor, "Take this criminal, drown him until he is nearly dead, raise him up, give him one breath, and then force him underwater again." The jiva soul's existence and passing enjoyment in this world is comparable to being forced above and below water again and again. The equal and opposite reactions of the jiva soul's exploitative actions, done even for survival, force them into this condition. Inescapable karma. We can also recognize Newton's third law in another verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Matra sparshastu kunteya shitoshna sukha dukada agama paino nityas tams titikshashva bharata. Heat, cold, happiness, sadness, and all the other phases of mundane life come and go. They are a passing show. Whenever happiness comes, sadness follows it. And whenever sadness comes, happiness follows it. This is the nature of the material environment. The jiva souls must tolerate these changes. Happiness and sadness are actually the reactions to the jiva soul's own activities. All of the jiva soul's experiences and actions register within the cyclic system of karma, and no jiva soul can avoid the reactions produced by karma. Miraculous news. In the Mahabharata, Dharmaraj asked Yudhisthira Maharaj, what is the news in this world? So I mentioned there were these 100 or so questions that Dharmaraj asked to Yudhisthira, and of those 100, there are 4 which are very famous. And so this was one of those 4. What is the news? Yudhisthira Maharaj replied, Masartu Darvi Parigatnena Suryagnina Rachi Divendanena Asmin Maha Moha Maye Katahe Bhutani Kala Pachatiti Varta. The news of this world is that the conditioned jiva souls are being cooked by Mahakal, universal time, in the pot of worldly illusion, which is heated by the fire of the sun and burns on the firewood of the days and nights. The pot is stirred by the ladles of the months and seasons, and within the pot, the jiva souls are suffering so much. And this is Gurudev's addition. Covered with the masala of kam, lust, krodh, anger, lobh, greed, mada, pride, moha, illusion, matsarja, envy, and the desires for kanak, wealth, kamini, women, and pratishta, fame. This is the only news in this world. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Let's party.
That's a holiday card.
Right. I love it. With some pretty picture. Some pretty
With the pot and all the things, and then just teeny tiny little labels, so you have to look close and be like, oh, okay.
Dharmaraj then asked Yudhisthira Maharaj, what is miraculous in this world? So what is the news? And then another one, what is the miracle in this world? Yudhisthira Maharaj replied, Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti yama mandiram. Oh, Maya, so nice to see you. Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti yama mandiram shesha stavaram ichanti kim ascharjam ataparam. Day by day, the embodied souls are suffering so much in their worldly lives and finally departing for the house of death. Day by day, before their eyes, death takes away their father, mother, sons, daughters, neighbors, and so on. But the jiva souls who stay behind think, I will not go, I will never die. I will stay here and enjoy everything. So many others have gone, but I won't. I will stay here and enjoy. Everyone else has died, but death will never come for me. I will stay here forever. And, really, there's a part of us that really believes that, We don't really, like if we really lived thinking, I could go tomorrow, we would live very differently, actually, But we build up our lives, we make so many investments and so on and so forth, planning for the next 50 years or so, or 100 years or whatever. But we don't think, what if I were to go tomorrow, actually? How would I live differently? We would have a different set of priorities, And we hear about persons who have these near-death experiences, and they have these epiphanies, and they completely change their lives around. And we've all experienced, how our priority set can dramatically change, actually. What was so important yesterday with some new realization can appear utterly insignificant tomorrow, So this is described by Yudhisthira Maharaj as the greatest miracle, that every day people are leaving this world, entering the Yama Mandiram, the temple of death, but those who stay behind, they're thinking, I won't go. I will be here forever. This is the foolishness of the conditioned souls. And Yudhisthira Maharaj described it as the greatest wonder in the world. The conditioned souls think they will live this particular life eternally. It is simply not true. Srila Guru Maharaj used to quote this English verse, the boast of heraldry, the pomp, this is Thomas Gray, Elegy in a Country Churchyard. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, and all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awaits alike the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. Here, the position of everything in this world is very simply explained. According to everyone's culture, qualities, karma, and so on, their position within material life goes up, then down, up again, down again, and finally to the grave. The conditioned souls, however, are not able to properly understand this. When any soul does realize their position in this world, they feel, and then Gurudev quotes this verse of Shankaracharya, Dina yaminyo sayam prata, shishira vasanto punar ayata, kala kridati kachatya yus tadapinam munchantyasha vayu. Day and night, dusk and dawn, winter and springtime come and go again and again. Time plays on and life passes away, but the disease of desire never leaves me. Everything in this world comes and goes in the course of time, except for the false hope of material happiness. And Gurudev liked this verse very much, and this is a Sanskrit verse by Shankaracharya, and Srila Gurudev actually wrote two different Bengali translations of this verse, his own Bengali rendering, two different versions. He liked them so much. And he had, I'm not sure which one, but he had one of these on his wall, I think in Calcutta. So this is the first of Gurudev's verses based on this one. Divasa rajani sandhya sakala, shadrita sane kele mahakal, nashe paramayu tabu ashavayu, nachade amai evishamadaya. Time plays with the days, nights, dusks, dawns, and 6 seasons and takes away my life. Yet the disease of desire never releases me. This is my dire condition. Divasa yamini sandhya prabhata vasanta shadat koda yatta yatta kala seta kelinashe paramayu tabunahi chade dushta ashavayu. Day and night, dusk and dawn, and winter and spring come and go. Time plays amongst them and takes away my life. Yet the disease of wicked desire never releases me. Again and again the sun rises, the sun sets, and days pass by, but the conditioned souls never really consider it. The conditioned souls always absorb themselves in eating, sleeping, fearing, and enjoying. Ahara nidra bhaya maitunam cha. They only think about what they will have for dinner this evening, what they will have for breakfast tomorrow, and so on. While they are thus absorbed in material life, the days continue to pass, and beyond their control, time flows on. The wheel of karma, death and birth are very important questions for conditioned souls. The jiva souls want to enjoy their existing lives forever. They make houses and families for this purpose. But at any time, a car accident can happen and take anyone away from their house and family. The jiva soul cannot actually control anything. The reactions to one's previous actions, karma fall, can always forcibly oust one from any position in this world. Karmic reactions bring birth, death, old age, disease, happiness, and sadness to the jiva souls within this material world. The jiva souls never know when death will come to them, and they will have to leave everything to take another birth. According to their karma, jiva souls may receive a human birth again, or may revolve through the 8,400,000 varieties of species in this world. No one can stay in their present body forever. Everyone must change bodies according to the laws of karma. No one knows where their karma will take them, where they will stay, what they will do, or what their future will be. They only know that the karma chakra, the wheel of karma, must push them forward. To every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. Within the material environment, the karma chakra is always cycling, and the reactions to everyone's previous actions are happening automatically. Okay, well, not to bring anyone down, but it's very sobering, and it's important we are reminded of these things. So we utilize our time properly, appreciate this opportunity we have, this rare human birth, to cultivate our spiritual welfare. And actually, I was thinking, what I was feeling when I was beginning the class was that, our Gurudev was here, Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami, he was here, and now he's not here. And feeling that, like, how much did I get, how much did I appreciate that time I had from him, and how much did I really take advantage of that, And at least now, with what consciousness and ability, capacity I have, I can try to appreciate, what he was trying to give us, and to try to follow that to the best of my ability. And in doing that, we will be benefited, and we will come closer in our connection with our divine masters. They will be pleased with us. We will move closer to that world of higher consciousness. Because, days are passing. Now we have this opportunity to come together and to speak about these things, to do some kirtan together. But tomorrow, who knows? Anything could happen. But now we are very happy to be with our good friends.
Vishakha, can I ask a question?
Yes.
What you're reading now reminds me also a little bit about what you were reading this morning about Sachi Mata, and how, she, her divine pastimes were expressed in actually quite difficult, like, family situation or something. Like challenges. And I was wondering about, you were saying that, like, it's such a reverse way to think, like, that when someone is challenging me or, like, criticizing me, that I worship them and glorify them. That's the nature of a spiritual, someone whose spiritual life is real. And I was wondering if you could help us, like, take inspiration from that to apply that to our own life, which is filled with karma, and which, like you read just now, is it's always going to be like that if we're in this world of exploitation.
You mean, you mean like tate nukampa?
Well, like just like viewing.
I'm not seeing the connection so much.
I was struck by how, like, what you mentioned this morning, how Sachimata's, like, her way of viewing everything is completely, like, different to the way I am viewing things.
But what in particular?
The life, you know, challenges.
But
karma.
what was the response of? What was?
She had a thought in her. Okay, so it was Shuniva. Was it?
Advaita Acharya.
Acharya. She had some thought in her mind, and then he understood that and actually worshipped her.
Yes.
Instead of taking, issue with that at all, which is the way we work in this
Yes. And then how is that related to what we were reading?
That there is karma, there is experience,
Yes.
there will be challenges, there will be obstacles, and my path will be filled with that. But what we're striving for is a revised way of reading that situation.
I see. Well, I think the answer is tate nukampam, right? This is a famous verse in Bhagavatam, which Srila Sridhar Maharaj describes as the highest regulation given in any scripture. That saying that whatever difficulty we may have to face, then first of all, we will accept that we are responsible for that. No one else is to blame for that. So we have to lose that reacting tendency. We have to accept the responsibility for it ourselves. And then, number two, on a deeper level, on a higher level, to appreciate that this is not just something difficult to be tolerated in a dry sense, but we can actually take this in a positive way. We can see that the Lord's grace, the Lord's affection is actually behind this, coming to help us, to correct us in some way. In the same way that a mother may have to slap their child sometimes or give some correction to their child. There is not affection and love behind that. So in this way, what was previously seen to us as very difficult or meaningless, now it becomes full of meaning and something that we welcome, actually. Srila Sridhar Maharaj made that nice expression, no chaos, all cosmos. It's all harmonious, it's all supporting, it's all supporting our growth, and it all has its place. It's not that there's no rhyme, no reason, but there's perfect order and meaning, grace and affection behind everything. We have to have that adjustment of vision. And not that that's easy. It's easy to say, but we can, we will remind ourselves again and again. And if we're fortunate, we'll keep company with others who will also remind us of that spiritual vision. And we can support each other in that. And the environment always gives us new opportunities to practice that, So we have to become more introspective, actually, because we can actually, if we have enough consciousness, then we can understand in many situations, what is it within me that is that needs to be corrected. If the layers of ego are too strong, then we can't see anything. Those layers are too thick and too overpowering. We can't see anything. But once some degree of purification has taken place and we're living on a little bit more of a subtle platform, then these connecting layers between the false ego, our mind, our intellect, and the real self, that consciousness, that spark of consciousness within, those connecting layers, the distinctions will become more clear. And with some introspection, one can begin to feel within oneself, this ego within me is being adjusted by this incident, This particular fault, this particular shortcoming is being adjusted by this, We can begin to see, how we are inviting these things. And if we cannot understand, then we simply have to embrace it with faith, with the confidence that there is some purpose here. And may not be clear to me now, but it may come in the future, according to the Lord's will. That's also a type of surrender. The Lord can do with me whatever He likes. All rights reserved on His side. And He also doesn't have to explain it to me. This is a point of surrender, which is a joyful thing, ultimately. If we feel that our guardian is always over us, then we will always, we will not have any complaints, actually, about our environment. If we feel that our guardian, if we feel the presence of our guardian, we have that faith in our guardian taking care of us, then we will not have any complaint in what is coming to us.